My name is Kamisha Harmon, and this is student activity number 3, Language and Literacy in Early Childhood. And in this activity, I will share how each student learning outcome was taught and what I gained from the course assignments and activities, videos, webinars. So the first student learning outcome is analyze and explain language acquisition in early childhood. And the following classroom experience that relate to this student learning outcome are learning through discussion unit 1.1, language acquisition of young children, major theories and sequences. In this assignment, which was a learning through discussion activity where we had to read an article, I said it did broaden my background knowledge and language acquisition. It gave me an understanding of how children acquire language through imitation, reinforcement, and inheritance. It also expanded my knowledge about the behavioristic theory, nativistic theory, and the cognitive theory. Then I have seeing language, the effect of sign language on vocabulary development in young hearing children. And this assignment really taught me a lot about the effect of sign language on language acquisition, and it has allowed me to discover ways I could implement sign language in my own classroom. And then I have first and second language acquisition in early childhood. And this assignment helped me to understand the importance of fully developing the first language before acquiring a new language. And I learned that acquiring a new language before the native language has completely developed can result in slow growth in the first language. Also, I have video analysis number 1, discovering psychology, language development, and this assignment gave me better insight of how children acquire language throughout childhood. And I learned that children can acquire language as early as infancy by observing their parents. Then I have chapter 3, understanding language development in early childhood. Now this chapter really broadened my knowledge for the student learning outcome. It has allowed me to understand what is language and how children develop language paralinguistically and linguistically. And this chapter has also helped me to understand the 4 components of language and how each of them are important in the development of language. So the next student learning outcome is examine the 4 areas of language arts: reading, writing, listening, and speaking, and communicate their independent significance as well as their correlation to each other. The first one I have is video analysis number 3, literature circles, and I really enjoyed this video because it allowed me to see what a literature circle looks like and how to actually implement one. Then I have student activity number 2, an introduction to the writer's workshop. And this activity really gave me some understanding of how the writing shop is carried out and how they are used to promote writing and thinking skills in children. And then I have learning through discussion 3.1, drawing and writing to communicate. And I love this assignment because it just allowed me to see how children communicate through their drawings, and it has allowed and it allows them to develop in their writing skills. So I really enjoyed that article. And then also for this student learning outcome, I have learning through discussion 3.2, where we read the article We Can Write, the writing workshop for young learners. And this article and LTD discussion broadened my background knowledge about the writing workshop and its positive effect on writing skills of young learners. And it was a very interesting article. And then I have the video of what is a writing workshop. And this video increased my knowledge of the steps and procedures of the writing workshop. The speaker did emphasize the importance of writing every day to enhance writing skills in children. And the video was just a great video to expand my knowledge about the writing workshop. And my next student learning outcome is describe and select intervention strategies that facilitate the development of language in early childhood. And at first I have the video analysis number 2, what is important vocabulary to teach in preschool? And I said this video enhanced my understanding of how children learn vocabulary. I am now aware of the 3 stages in which children learn, and I can take these stages into consideration when teaching my students. Then there was the webinar, Developing Print Knowledge in Young Children with Disabilities. And this webinar expanded my understanding of the student learning outcome because it focused on the use of early print to foster literacy and language development in children. The podcast, Rethinking Phonics for the 21st Century by Dorothy Strickland. This podcast has broadened my knowledge about phonics instruction and how children learn phonics. I learned different strategies that can help children learn how to read, such as scaffolding and helping children to think with text. I also learned how modeling phonics in the classroom in an engaging way can help children learn to pronounce words and reading. And overall, the podcast was, I enjoyed hearing her explain things and, just talk about studies and how things had occurred, but it was a very good podcast. Okay, supporting the speaking abilities of the very young, Chapter 5. And Chapter 5 enhanced my knowledge of this student learning outcome because it focuses on understanding the speech of young children and provides ideas and strategies to help children expand their thinking and develop their speaking skills. And Chapter 7, fostering growth in emergent literacy. I said Chapter 7 broadened my knowledge about emergent literacy. I learned how reading with children every day can positively influence vocabulary growth, writing abilities, motivation to read, and listening comprehension as well. Then I have research and characterize the components of quality literature. And for this student learning outcome, I selected the article Reading and Literature for Children. And this assignment broadened my knowledge about the components of quality literature because the author talked about different characteristics of quality books and how they can be beneficial for children. And then also inside the mind of a child selecting literature appropriate to the developmental age of children. This is one of the articles that I really enjoyed because it kind of really went inside the mind of young children, just kind of explain to you why they show interest in a certain type of book or characteristic of a book. And then selecting quality literature for your child, lessons from the Caldecott Award winners. And this article helped expand my knowledge of quality literature based on Caldecott Award winners. I learned that quality literature consists of books that are well written and illustrated to draw the child into the story. Also, for the student learning outcome, I have Learning Through Discussion, Unit 2.4, Choosing Books for Children. This article also helps to broaden my knowledge of how children's development affects their interest in books. And then I have leading young children to literature, which is Chapter 9. And this chapter has broadened my knowledge of the characteristics of quality literature because it focuses on what quality books for children consist of. So I really did get an understanding of quality literature and what it means for literature to be of good quality. Okay, then I have modify and differentiate language arts curricula to meet the individual needs of children. And I have the podcast Rethinking Phonics for the 21st Century. And this podcast focus on using phonics to help children develop literacy skills. It also touches on different strategies to help children build literacy skills through differentiation. Then I have Word and Fluency, which was a video. and from this video, I learned why fluency is important and how teachers can teach fluency in instruction. Then there's the article Guided Reading with Emergent Readers by Jean Clytus. And this article broadened my understanding of what guided reading is and how it is beneficial to the development of reading in young learners. Also, for this student learning outcome, I have the guided reading research project and video analysis number 4, how to support teachers' use of storytelling to build comprehension in oral language in early settings. The next student learning outcome is propose strategies that foster partnerships with parents to facilitate language skills. And I have the podcast Appropriate Goals for Learning in Pre-K and Kindergarten with Joan Allman. And this podcast really brought up my knowledge about the gap that exists between pre-K and kindergarten learning in the classroom and the role parents and educators could have in ensuring that their children are getting an appropriate education. And it actually allowed me to think back to when I was in kindergarten and how kindergarten seemed more play-based way back then, and now is like the children, they want more activities, want children more sitting to the table doing work. Then I have Next Practices in Preparing Very Young Children for Literacy by Bill Harvey and Patricia Edwards. And this podcast broadened my knowledge of ways of engaging parents and preparing children for literacy development. And then I have Chapter 2, Optimizing Every Child's Language Through Family Literacy. This chapter broadened my knowledge about the importance of literacy in the home and how parents can engage in children's learning to help promote literacy development. I learned strategies to use to encourage parents to read to children and ways for them to provide a literacy-rich environment for their children to help build on literacy. And also I have Chapter 1, Appreciating Diversity, and Chapter 8, Supporting Early and Independent Reading. And Chapter 1 just kind of gave me some information about partnering with families and how it is an effective way to support diversity in the classroom. And then supporting early independent reading. This chapter enhanced my understanding of what early independent reading is and how teachers and families can work together to help children develop reading skills. And when they read with the children and when parents read with their children every day as well, it also supports independent reading. Then I have Plan and Organized Instruction in Reading and Other Communication Skills. And the first one I have is the Early Guided Reading. In this video, it helped me to understand the process of a guided reading lesson and how teachers can plan to teach words by identifying them in the text and allowing the children to write the words and develop sentences with words to enhance development of literacy skills. Then I have the article Young Authors Writing Workshop in Kindergarten. And this article also helped to expand my knowledge about the writing workshop and how books are used to help guide a writing workshop. Then the Writing Process Workshop by Lucy Calkins. This article gave me some information about the writing workshop, its benefits, problems with the workshop, as well as elements of the workshop, and it really gave me some insight of how a workshop should be carried out. And then a day in the life of our writing workshop. I really liked this video because it was like a classroom setting where a writing workshop was taking place, and it was very informative. You got to see how a writing workshop actually goes. So then I have the video, The Components of Balanced Literacy. And this video gave me information about guided writing, guided reading, word work, modeled writing, and partner reading, and how all of these different components work together to help children develop in their literacy. So for the evaluation, what would you change about the course? I don't think I would change anything because all the information was informative. I enjoyed it. The webinars, the videos, everything was informative, and it allowed me to gain information that I can apply in my classroom. And As far as being a group member, I think my group members and I worked very well together. We communicated with each other, we did our assignments, and we just expressed our opinions openly, and we learned from each other. So it was a great experience overall.